What's up, everyone? Welcome, speed gamers all around the world, and welcome to our Mega Man 10 tournament, brought to you by our very own Speed Gaming. Uh, Today we have, and let me just check just to make sure that I'm not messing this up. This will be Scarf versus Slurpee Ninja. Two very interesting members of the Mega Man 10 community. Scarf, on one hand, is I believe, very new runner to this scene. He is as recent as of the times of, I think, 2021. And Slurpeeninja is someone who needs no introduction to the Mega Man 10 community. He's been doing runs since the game's release, has a lot of accolades in it, and has done basically every character's runs, such as like Proto Man and Base and other characters. So, should be an interesting race. Let me just get everyone to the race layout real quick, and in a few moments we should be getting started. Here we're setting up practice, waiting for both of the racers. So like I said, Slurpeeninja, known for his expertise in other characters. Scarf, I believe, plays Proto Man. On all my lands, I do not want to be quoted on that, but I do believe he plays Proto Man, and now both of them just going to be playing the real deal Mega Man here, and seeing how well they fare. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Scarf has a PB of 36 minutes, somewhere around that ballpark. Slurpee, I think, has been doing runs as of recent, and has a 35-minute PB. But again, a lot of experience in Slurpeeninja's side. He's done many runs and many marathons, so we'll see how Scarf, the newcomer, just how well he stands up to Mr. Ninja himself. I believe we're about to get started. Slurpeeninja is ready. Scarf is ready. We're about to be beginning. Timing starts on the stage select. The moment we select our stage, timers run, and we'll be going. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So yeah, pretty standard Mega Man game here. If you're not aware, this game was released in 2010. If you're wondering why it's in 8-bit graphics, well, it's kind of a stylistic perspective where they wanted to like bring back the nostalgia from the older games, and I'd say they did a pretty well job. Commando Man here is first because for two reasons. One is the usual reason of the weakness order. So, like in other Mega Man games, you beat a Robot Master and you get their weapon. And one of those Robot Masters one of the other Robot Masters that are on the stage select will be weak to the weapon that you just got from the one you just beat. So you kind of just want to like go along the Robot Masters based on like what they're weak to. So here we start with Pump. We don't have his weakness yet, of course, we don't have any weapons yet. And we just follow the weaknesses from there. So we go to like Solar Man because he's weak to Pump Man's weapon, Shell Man because he's weak to Solar Man's weapon, so on and so forth. The other reason for the boss order is the other usual culprit when it comes to boss orders in Mega Man games, which is depending on what utility items you get. And in this case, the first 4 bosses you defeat will give you the Rush Jet, regardless of which Robot Masters it be. So after defeating 4 Robot Masters, you get a very interesting utility item called the Rush Jet, which is basically lets you fly over stages, fly over pits, spikes, a la Super Mario World Cape style. And so with that, the bosses are chosen such that, or the stages are chosen such that the last 4 stages are the ones that benefit the most from having said rush jet, which is pretty convenient. Like, basically these 4 stages in a row, Pump, Solar, Chill, and Nitro Man, will in fact be the ones that are the least beneficial with rush jet. It's kind of convenient that like they're all in a row like that, while the next 4 stages, Commando, Blade, and specifically Sheep, will help with rush jet. So yeah, we're in Pump Mass fight right now. Pretty interesting fight with the Mega Buster. You have to either shoot through his shield, because as you can see on Scarf's side, he can shoot through the shield with Mega Man's arm, or you can do what Slurpee is end up doing, which is depleting the shield. Each projectile of the shield takes 2 hits to deplete, and you shoot him that way. Good fights from both of them. You end up with not a lot of health to work with, and I believe both of them got the E-Tank just for that purpose, just in case this fight goes south. But nonetheless, pretty good showing of the first fight. And you get to chill with the weapon select screen. It's kind of long in this game. Not gonna lie. They are a bit long. Unfortunately, no, Mega Man 10 does not have access to Charge Shot and Slide unless you're playing Proto Man. Proto Man does have access to those features. They kind of, again, wanted to bring it back to the classic Mega Man style. Pretty bare bones, just walking and shooting and jumping. Yeah, so Solar Man stage here, pretty vertical stage. You're going to be seeing the usage of Rush Coil a lot, which is like your trusty dog giving you a boost and gives you like a very big jump that lets you skip a bunch of ladders. Vertical screen here. I believe these fire spitters, those ones that come from the ceiling and the floor, are based on your proximity. And here in Slurpeeninja's side, we're about to see the first case of this game's randomness. These birds are pulled on the RNG, and so whether these guys cooperate with you by kind of staying on the ground for you to fire is kind of up to luck. But we will explain what RNG is later when we're going to be coming up on a more related part of the run that uses a bit of RNG. But yeah, standard more climbing, more horizontal sections, such as these conveyor belts. Again, you want to spend as much time as possible walking on the conveyor belts that bring you forward, and jumping or staying as little time grounded on the conveyor belts that bring you backward. For obvious reasons, you go faster when you're going forward on the conveyor belts, and the opposite happens. So I guess I did forget to mention, while this game does not have a charge shot and a slide for Mega Man, what you can do is a quick weapon swap, which is not in the classic games, but without pausing, you can in fact change weapons, as you've been seeing multiple times. A quick fight here with Solar Man, he kind of just jumps at you, and you deploy a shield, and he dies. He isn't a threat much of the time until you enter this fight at no health. In which case, if you die, then you really don't have that much ammo since you've been using the water shield throughout the entire stage. Good fight from both people here. And we're heading off to Chill Man, which is, I'd say it's one of the more dangerous stages in this game. You're going to be seeing a lot of spikes and a lot of spike drops. Main gimmick of this stage is, well, for one, there's going to be ice physics that skedaddle you around if you walk with any momentum on them. And there is going to be some blocks of ice that can be destroyed in 2 ways, such as these one, where you can shoot with any weapon. You can shoot them twice, or you can just jump on them twice and they'll break the exact same. You can see here Slurpee carefully navigating the ice block maze there, making sure not to just run into spikes. Pretty good by both so far. bit of a tricky jump in here. The room with these ice blocks and these Susies, you have to destroy both of those blocks on the top with solar plays, and then quickly swap out weapons and switch to Rush Jet. So I guess I should explain coming up. I did say that this game has weapon switching, and a mechanic of weapon switching in this game is that it allows you to cancel whatever instance of the weapon is on screen. Oh, yeah, Scarf taking a very tragic death there. Sometimes you really just want to hold forward on that screen, but it's like tempting to jump. But in fact, the right way to do that screen is to just hold forward, and most of the time, if done correctly, you are not going to get hit by any of the spike. What is it called? Those spike enemies that jump up and down. But because they also break the ice when they land on it, it can become kind of tricky, and especially if you like get hit in the room once, it can become kind of like hard to back it up. So yeah. So as I was saying before, as Scarf approaches now the Chill Man fight, is that when you switch weapons, you get to cancel out an instance of the weapon on screen. And that's very important in this Chill Man fight, where you have to fire the solar blaze, which is his weakness, and then immediately cancel out of it so that you can fire another blaze. Because as you can see, if you do not cancel the solar blaze, it stays on screen for quite some time, and you can't fire another one. So both, Slurpee Ninja already in Nitro Man stage. I would say this is a pretty laid back stage. Nothing much can go wrong. Hopefully I don't jinx that, but it's a pretty straightforward stage where we don't really have that many opportunities to die. I guess some interesting factoid here is that if you can see those truck screens where Slurpee Ninja is riding a truck when it's going forward and then trying to stop the truck with Chill Spike when it's going against them, you can actually use the stoplights on the top of the screen with firing at it with Rush Coil, by jumping on it, or using another aimed projectile at it. You can in fact stop the flow of trucks from coming. Not that much useful in Mega Man, where there isn't really any good weapon to take advantage of that. So you can see here on Scarf's screen that you can use the Chill Spike to kind of stop the trucks dead in their tracks. Slurpee Ninja doing that one-tiled room very cleanly, where the strategy is to just shoot every other jump that you do. Also approaching to the Nitro Man fight, which is, again, very RNG based. Unfortunately, Slurpee does not get the best pattern, but the cool trick to this fight is that you can actually freeze Nitro Man with, Chill Man's weapon, Chill Spike, and reset what pattern he's doing. So ideally, you want him to be kind of riding around the screen back and forth, which is how he takes maximum damage, by running over the Chill Spike that's on the ground. And if you see him just standing on the ground firing, his wheel cutters, you want to reset his pattern by freezing it. There's another strat for that fight where you deploy or you fire the Chill Spike in a certain position, which places the spike on the ground, but it doesn't. The projectile doesn't hit Nitro Man. It's just that the spike, once it what it's called, once it fully lays itself out on the ground, it actually hits him. So you can get the maximum damage from laying the spike down without having to freeze him. So that would be the optimal way to do that. It's kind of tricky though. It has like a few pixel window to it. So here's Commando Man. I'd say, again, it's a pretty straightforward stage. You just have to jump over the quicksand pits because they slow you down. And here's the main interesting part about Commando Man stage, which is the sandstorms. First one brings you along, so you want to be riding with it. Gives you a nice speed boost across the room into more quicksand pits where you just kind of are just jumping and holding out water shield. And he's coming up to the first usage of Rush Jet. Like we talked about, after beating the first 4 bosses, you can get this item that just lets you fly off into the screen. And what that does is it lets you avoid the sandstorm that's coming against you, which is very useful because it will slow you down. You can even use it to ride along with the sandstorm. In this screen, it's not necessary. You can just platform across it and have the same, same time going out. But just to make it a lot easier since you have the ammo anyways. Good stage by Slurpeeninja. You can hear the audio cue there being on the boss door, pretty nice. And let's see if you can get a good pattern here. Not that great of a pattern, unfortunately, for Slurpeeninja, but one of the very few glitches in this game is that Commando Man, when he jumps, when he's rising in the air, does not actually have any invulnerability frames. Again, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but bosses in this game have 20 iframes, 20 frames where they can't get hit after taking damage. 20 and 60 FPS games, by the way, so it's 1/3 of a second. But Commando Man, when he's in the air, just gets rid of all his iframes. So if you can get close to him and he jumps, and you can just mash out a bunch of wheel cutters in his face, and he just dies pretty fast. Slurpee now on the Blade Man stage. Another stage where a lot of usage of Rush Jet is pretty crucial. You'll see later. Because there's going to be these screens which have these kind of seesaws that let you travel across spikes, such as, coming up the screen. Oh, but Slurpee actually going for the really ballsy strat of just jumping over the spike pits, not needing Rush Jet. And the reason why that's faster is that he can actually conserve Rush Jet on a later screen. That being said, those spike jumps are either a 4-frame window or a 5-frame window, depending on the subpixel, which is essentially luck at this stage. Again, Slurpeeninja just demonstrating his knowledge of the game with all these years of playing. And he gets to use Rush Jet on this screen very early on. So he gets to fly over all the spikes. Reason why that's faster, by the way, instead of just taking the Rush Jet on the first room, which I believe Scarf will do. Let's see if Scarf does it. So yeah, Scarf does just ride over the first few spikes instead of taking the gaps very head on. The reason that's faster is that while Rush Jet moves at the same speed that you do while walking, well, Mega Man does, you actually have to stop for a bit to ride the Rush Jet. You have to stutter for a bit, unless you're at the very top of the screen. The lower you are, or the closer you are to the bottom of the screen, the more time it takes for Rush Jet to deploy, and the more time for you to be able to ride it. So with that said, you kind of want to avoid having to summon Rush Jet too many times, because for every time that you do, you have to slow down. And that strat that Slurpeeninja just did allows him to so that he can do the entire Rush Jet screen with enough ammo so that he only summons it once. Blade Man, quickly going down with Commando Bomb there. It's a pretty weird weapon, Commando Bomb, where depending on where you hit it, relative to the enemy, it can sometimes hit once or twice. So you can see Scarf here. Unfortunately, he's only there. Okay, so he gets one double hit there, but you kind of want to be getting all the double hits as you can, just to make the fight faster. But on to Strike Man for him. Strike Man, another pretty interesting stage in that it doesn't actually have any insta-death traps, so there's no spikes, there's no bottomless pits, so there's no way to instantly die in this stage, but a lot of new players will just die anyways because of how much stuff is thrown at him at the screen. It's a pretty grueling stage that just has so many ways to take damage. You just get to slug it out with all these things. An important part coming here with Slurpee's game is that there's these lockers that pop out of the walls and fire at you. These are based on a global timer, meaning to say he has to kind of do the stage at the same times that he would be used to. Otherwise, the lockers that fire at him would be on a different pattern, and sometimes they might just get in his way. You know, sometimes just randomly opening right as where Mega Man is. Scar fighting the Keeper mini bosses there. Again, using the Commando Bomb and trying to set it up such that where he's standing, he can easily get a double hit. Ooh, Slurpee unfortunately not being able to get the quick kill on Strike Man. That low jump where he does there, it's pretty tight, trying to get the quick kill there. Basically what you want to do with the quick kill is that you want to hit him with at least 2 of the triple blades once you're up close to him. And that makes it such that he takes 2 hits of the triple blade, which I believe does 5 damage each. So yeah, he'll just take either 4 or 5, I don't even remember the damage, but yeah, he takes double hits there and you can just like mash it up close. But with the short jump, you don't have that much time. Because like by approaching him, by the time you get there, he's probably trying to jump, so you don't have that much leeway to get the quick kill on him. Speaking of quick kills, by the way, or quick kills, no. Speaking of global timers, by the way, here's another stage that features the very infamous disappearing and appearing Yoku blocks. So after Slurpee gets through these colored tile blocks, which is not the Yoku blocks that I mentioned. The way these colored blocks work is that once you touch one of them, any connected colored blocks to it, blocks of the same color, will disappear in a while. Quick showcase of Rush Dead there. Coming up into another boss that dies into Commando Bomb when you place it properly. Here's the Octo Bulb, and one shot. Only takes 1 bullet. Pretty interesting to see where these players use Wheel Cutter to save time. As you've seen, it lets you scale up walls pretty quickly, but sometimes you want to like reserve it for like actual big walls because if you like mess up on like the tiny time saves, you can just get stuck there holding Wheel Cutter for nothing. And yeah, Slurpee making it the good cycle here on the Yoku blocks as you've seen there. It's really only at that last part where, oh no! Now that might even things up a bit. So yeah, Slurpeeninja there taking a death on probably one of the worst things to take a death on this stage. That's probably the last spike that can kill you in the stage. But you get sent all the way back before the Yoku blocks, and tragedy unfolds. You don't actually have enough rush at ammo. As you can see here, Slurpeeninja might have to be forced to do some platforming, like with these Yoku blocks right now. And yeah, he just doesn't have any way to fly over it. Now, yeah, Scarf is just going to be able to gain some time back here. Especially with another death. Again, nobody really knows where these Yoku blocks spawn. If you're doing runs of this, obviously you die there, you kind of just don't want to do the run anymore, you just reset it and get another one. And now again, Scarf moving up to the lead. Things have been shaking up to be interesting. Hopefully he also doesn't commit the same grave error that Slurpeeninja did. Yeah, that put him a lot back. This stage is pretty cruel when that happens. Oh, Slurpeeninja taking another death. Yeah, not familiar with the Yoku block patterns. That is in fact a game over. That's 3 lives, he did not get a 1-up. Here Scarf is just fighting Sheep Man on his way to the Wily stages with a very big lead, even though he was behind. What you saw there in the fight, by the way, was a quick showcase of how the Rebound Striker works, which is Strike Man's weapon. It's Sheep Man's weakness, but even better is that it will do more damage the more times it bounces off of walls, to a maximum of 3 times. So what you want to make it do is you want to fire it like sometimes in weird angles, like not directly against Sheepman, so you want to fire it like against the wall, such that when it does hit Sheepman, it will do its maximum damage by having bounced a certain number of times. Kind of makes you feel like a very cool billiards player, just bouncing stuff around and then hitting the boss. So yeah, Scarf here approaching the Wily stages. And I did say that this game does in fact have RNG, I did say earlier on. Although, you're about to see here why that's almost not really the case. So, RNG in this game only really matters, is only pulled by the current frame, so the frame count, and the number of enemies you kill. So as you can see here in this stage, this first screen of Wily 1, with this very nice rain and this music that you only hear once ever in the game, is that you can do that screen without stopping and by killing the same number of enemies. And with that, you know that Elect Man in this first set of archives is going to be coming out as the first archive. So yeah, these bosses, these set of bosses are throwbacks, callbacks, whatever you want to call them, to the older Mega Man games and the older Robot Masters. Unfortunately, no love for Rockman and Forte. Nobody really loves that game. Sorry, working. Those bosses will appear based on the RNG, so whoever comes out is based off the RNG. But again, as long as you can manipulate the RNG perfectly fine by entering the room at the same, or by entering the boss fight at the same frame, and by killing the same number of enemies every time, then you know exactly what's going to happen. Unfortunately, at this point, there's just way too much complications that let you kind of do a frame-perfect setup to enter the stage. So at this point, at the second set, it's going to be ran for Scarf. So Flame Man first is not really what you want to be seeing there, but Scarf handling the pattern very well. You usually want to see either Napalm Man or Ring Man first there, such that it's easier to fight. Flame Man kind of is just out of the way both with his weapon and what he spawns. All the weapons that the weapon archives are weak to are actually the references to like older Mega Man. Well, not all of them, I guess, but like they're also referencing like what the original Robot Master is weak to, in some way, shape, or form. Such as you see there, I think Napalm Man was weak to Rebound Striker, and in the original game, Mega Man 5 he was weak to Crystal Eye, which is another weapon that bounces off the walls. Slurpeeninja unfortunately not getting the manipulation as he gets stuck on the wall. Scarf making headway, about to finish up Wily 1 here, which I believe is the longest stage in the run. Or Wily 4, depending on how fast you do refights. Getting that quick jump over there. Just a bit of an interesting tidbit. Those big Stomper enemies will do a big jump if you spawn them while airborne. But if you spawn them while on the ground, they will in fact do a short jump. It's kind of like their way of trying to like catch the player. Like that's kind of their AI. It's that like if they're jumping, they expect you to be in the air, and then they try to jump at you at full distance, full height. So to manipulate them, you really just do a short jump usually when you enter the screen, and then you can run under them as they jump over you. Scarf approaching the worst stage in the game. Everyone hates this stage. Every Mega Man 10 runner dreads this stage. All against the pressure in Wily 2. You can see already that there's just all these up and down enemies coming from pits that try to catch you as you jump over them, all these conveyor belts. That enemy bear, by the way, with the searchlight, what it does is it switches the conveyor belts once it detects you, or switches the direction of the conveyor belts when you get detected by them. So these players obviously know how to manipulate them to their advantage, knowing which conveyor belts would push them forward in the decision. Second appearance of the birds here. This time you do have triple bait, but unfortunately Scarf doesn't get the kill right there. And here's a stage that's entirely based off of global cycles too, so you're gonna see on this next screen that there are these plungers coming in. And yes, those are in fact based off of a global timing as well. You want to enter them, or you want to enter like early enough such that you get a good cycle. And sometimes if the RNG doesn't go your way, or I say RNG, but top players these days have like found ways to manipulate even those birds with all the complications that come before them. After this Octoball, Scarf is going to be grabbing the M-Tank, the one and only M-Tank in the game, besides from the shop, which will be useful later to refill a bunch of ammo. Slurpeeninja finishing up the archives here. The archives really show clever weapon usage. It's pretty nice it's a nice like fight done well, both to see and what to do. Scarf on the last of the deadly plunger screen. These jumps are non-trivial too, by the way. These jumps with like the kind of like alcoves with spikes in them, you can really just die trying to make those jumps out of the pit, like the alcoves. Just hitting the spikes on your way out. And if that wasn't enough, you get to fight another boss with RNG. At the end of the stage that just was about to kill us. So yeah, this boss can either just stand there and try to fire at you, or he can just hide in the shell, like this. The strategy for that fight is to hope that he doesn't hide in his shell and use the Commando Bomb, which is his weakness, to hit both of his eyes at the same time, which usually implies that like it takes double damage. But if it hides in its shell, like if it hides behind its like was it like claws? Then you can't really do that. You have to like settle for a slower strat there. Scarf approaching a bunch of auto-scrollers here. Chooses to use the M-Tank now. Maybe he will be going for a really ballsy strat. Hopefully we get to see it with this M-Tank usage. The way these auto-scrollers work, on God if I can speak, but yeah, this platform that rises up and that tries to bring you along the spikes, if you go on the either side of it, it just swerves to that side, and that's how you're supposed to avoid the spikes. Alright, so we do see one coil here, but legends have told that there is a strat that uses not one, but two rush coils, and not just that, but also not one, but two rush jets on that auto-scroller screen, and it's a sight to behold. Not a lot of people have seen it though, so it remains to be a myth to this day. And yeah, kind of an auto-scroller here, using a rush jet to like go through the spikes where there's like a seesaw screen that you're intended to like ride across. Just a lot faster to use rush jet there. The way that for those who haven't seen, like the way that seesaw is supposed to work, so like you're supposed to jump in front of it and then back and then front and then back, kind of like like a pumping mechanism, and that moves it forward, and that's very slow because I can jump back and forth, back and forth. Slurpee, I think, getting a good pattern there. Actually, wasn't able to check, but maybe that's some consolation for him getting through Wily 2 with blessings from Crab. Race might not be over. We are approaching the end of the run, but there is some stuff that can still go wrong, especially in this last screen that Scarf is in right now. If he dies in that screen, it is, I believe, a 2-minute time loss, because not only, again, do you not have rush jet to do anything, but the checkpoint is so far back in Wily 3. Here's a boss that has nothing in it. Except no, the boss is the room itself. It's the devil. It's usually like the devil type boss of this game, where the projectiles that form the boss, the block devil boss you can see here, are parts of the stage itself. And it's weak to rebound strikers, so you can see here that Scarf is just trying to set up the rebound strikers so that they bounce across, they ricochet off along the walls and hit the boss for maximum damage. You hit. Ooh! Unfortunate there. Slurpeeninja tried what we all wanted to see and we all love. Unfortunately, taking a death on the last part, or on the second. Yeah, the second jump there, which is the jet from Rush Jet to Rush Coil. Unfortunately, further cementing Scarf's lead here in the race. Scarf now entering the refights, and Slurpeeninja has a whole stage ahead of him. So yeah, at this point, Scarf will actually have to make a huge blunder in the refights, which has been seen before. This is a pretty long stage that features every single boss fight that we've seen thus far, and if you die at the end of them, perhaps if you game over, then it will be quite tragic having to do all those refights again. No quick pattern for a Scarf there, for Strike Man. Usually, people can either do Nitro Man first in this refight section, either going for the bottom left one Nitro Man or the bottom one Strike Man, and then either going clockwise or counterclockwise from there, respectively. Here, Spark goes for the counterclockwise route of going Strike first and then following along to Nitro Man last. Quickly disposing of these bosses. Pretty weird these fights are. None of them are like trivial per se. Well, besides I guess Solar Man. Every like boss I've discussed has like this unique mechanic to them. Like it's not just standing in front of the boss and firing the weapon as many times as you want. All of them have like this cute little gimmick to them, like Shape Man there where you want to bounce off the walls. The rebound striker. It's really just Solar Man. Well, even Solar Man has this cool gimmick where you can put out the sun on his head prematurely before he lands, and what that does is he like actually takes the time to recharge the sun, and that's like the best pattern instead of like he's trying to attack you. It's optimal if he like tries to charge it as he lands. Here, Blade Man again. You want the double hits, but they're pretty finicky. He gets one. But he also gets one that the bomb hits directly on Blade Man, and unfortunately that doesn't do as much damage, it's just hitting him with the shockwaves that the Commando bomb produces. See here again, we have the usage of the quick weapon swapping. With Chill Man's fight, it's a pretty tough fight to do optimally. You have to, you can't really see it when you're just watching the run, but to quick weapon swap, by the way, you actually have to swap to one weapon and then swap back to the other weapon to fire it again. All in the same time, not pressing the L button or the R button at the same time. So you have to press R or L and then press the other button back, which is pretty tough to do in a short period of time without pressing both of them at the same time. Because holding both L and R at the same time actually reverts you to the Mega Buster automatically. It's a cool feature, but unfortunately, if you're trying to do weapon swapping fast, like that Chill Man fight too fast, you end up you kind of end up on the weapon on the Mega Buster a lot, and that's pretty tragic. Scarf here on Wily Machine. First phase weak to Solar Blaze, although he does use Triple Blade on some of it just because he already used both his M tank, so he can't really replenish it. Well, he replenishes, he has a W tank E tank for his disposal here. Just uses the E tank just to make sure he doesn't die. But yeah, the second phase is weak to Water Shield. If anything goes south, I do think that they can use the W tank to recover weapon energy there. And now, as I've discussed earlier, the game only checks for the current frame, the frame counter. So you know what time you've been doing in the stage so far, and the number of enemies that you kill in its RNG. For normal mode at least. I believe in hard mode there's actually some other factors that matter. But here in Wily 5, our goal is to do exactly that. Have the exact same frame count and kill the same number of enemies throughout the entire stage. And that will manipulate the final boss. Unfortunately, I think Scarf already ends it there. Yeah. He has to go for the no manipulation strat now. Taking the top route here. But yeah, it's a pretty tricky set of inputs and jumps where you can like do the stage consistently on this, taking the same amount of frames every time. But the moment you rub against the wall, usually means it's over, or you kill an extra enemy that you're not supposed to. It usually means that there's not not a backup you can do that's feasible. So now this boss, the Wily Castle, is gonna be random. And unfortunately there he doesn't really get the best pattern. Usually the outcome of not getting a manipulated fight. Usually just want him to stay there and not teleport away. But yeah, he gets two bad patterns here. He gets the double pattern where where Wily Machine here, or Wily Capsule here is just kinda letting his projectiles do all the work. Unfortunately, after two patterns of that, he can't actually do any more. So a lot of bosses in this game are forced to the two pattern rule, and that's time for Scarf. Congratulations, starting a bit behind on the race, but able to pull through, beating Slurpeeninja with its final time of 37:57. Congratulations. Slurpeeninja as well, trying to finish up the rest of the game. Again, unfortunately, it did start a bit close, but with a couple deaths there in Sheep Man, unfortunately, I think Slurpeeninja himself said that there was like issues with his controller. So it seems here that Slurpeeninja will be moving on to the losers bracket of the tournament, while Scarf advances to fight someone. He'll fight someone. I did not check the brackets prior to this, but he will be fighting someone. I can guarantee. Yep, Slurpeeninja here just finishing up the rest of the game. See if he can get the Wily 5 manipulation here, where he does the entire stage consistently. Doesn't seem like he's going for it though, or is he going for? Okay, so he is going for a bit of a harder strat here. Usually you want to use Rush Jet there to make the stage, to make this first screen more consistent, but here there's a bunch of jumps that have like a very tight window. Like I think some of them are like 2 frames, some of them is like, or it's 2 frames or you have to adjust which one you get. Although actually, wait, never mind. I think he did I think he did the easier version there. So it is the harder strat, but I don't think it saves time. Also, oh right, he doesn't have water shield here, so I'm not sure if he's accounted for that. Hopefully he has. It still works, I believe, just getting hit by one of the moles there, you know, the knives that come up and down. And yeah, finishing up, hopefully with a good pattern that I don't think it's manipulated. Prove me wrong. Okay, so it is, well, yeah, it is manipulated. It is the pattern where he gets hit, so yeah. Or is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it is manipulated. It is the right pattern, but I think he forgot which pattern it was, so he was trying to anticipate him firing to the left, but he spawned on the right, and there it is for Slurpeeninja as well. Finishing up with a time of, I believe, 40:44. Thank you for playing, Slurpeeninja. Well-fought race, but unfortunately, Scarf will be here to take the victory. And yeah, that will do it. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm not sure if we're going to be watching the entire credits or if there's going to be a interview. Is there going to be an interview portion? Slurpee Ninja, do you want Slurpee Ninja Scarf, do you want an interview real quick? I believe the next race will be today. In fact, it'll be in a few hours. I think 2 hours from now will be another race. So hopefully, if you're hankering for more Mega Man 10 action, hopefully you can get to tune in for that one. It's gonna be a race in 2 hours, and I believe a race in. Hold on, I really should stop saying stuff that I'm not sure is true or not. Seems like. Let me check real quick on the scheduling board. Yeah, so there will be a race in an hour or so, and another in 2 hours or so. So if you want to get those done, or you want to get to watch those races as well, be sure to tune in. It will be either in this channel, SpeedGaming, or SpeedGaming 2. Actually, no, never mind. I think it's only on SpeedGaming. Yeah, it's only going to be in this channel, both of those races. So be sure to tune in for that. And with that, I think we can just call it off here. Thank you everyone for watching. Congratulations again to Scarf for taking the win over Slurpee Ninja. Interesting to see, like, again, the new blood taking over the old guard. But yeah, Scarf moves on the bracket. And hopefully we get to see more of his races in the future. So yeah. Thank you everyone for watching, and I believe that'll be it. See you all in very short time, which I think I will be commentating the next few races as well. Or not, who knows. Yeah. Thank you all. Peace out. And unfortunately, I would say enjoy the rest of the credit song, but both players have the streams on mute right now, so or I think it's just on mute on the overlay. So yeah, go watch the credit song somewhere else and enjoy it. So, see you all a short time.